I have watched a lot of anime in my day, and a lot of manga I have read as well. Now, I haven't read as many light novels as, let's say, manga, but I have read quite a few that are pretty noteworthy. I gotta say, this series, Slime, like, I was reincarnated as a slime, this anime hit all the right notes for me personally, and what I enjoy. Now, I know when it comes to the isekai theme, like, being transferred to another world or reincarnated in another world, it's a common theme nowadays. It's something we see all the time. It's literally something every single anime season, you're probably going to see at the very least one show that's using this theme. It's very similar to, like, let's say a school life show with sports, or, it's like a romance show that you would get, a typical romance show, or a battle shonen. It's something you constantly see throughout each individual season, and this is one of those type of shows that we've seen a lot. In a lot of ways, the genre has become very oversaturated with stories with isekai themes, like, transferred to another world. Now, I'm not saying that every individual transfer to another world story is bad. There's some exceptions, and there's things that do break the mold and make a very interesting story. Overlord is a good example. It's a series that I have reviewed on this channel, and many of you I know, part of our community, really love the series. It's a great series, great story. Even though the anime ain't perfect, it's a wonderful story. Or something like Konosuba, which isn't, I guess necessarily as dark as Overlord can be. It's a comedy-based series. It's still a wonderful isekai series. And then you have ReZero, which is like Konosuba and Overlord, but ReZero is also a very wonderful series that breaks the mold of the genre. And I have to say that this series, like Reincarnated as a Slime, hopefully I'm saying the title right, I have to say that this series, I think, is going to join that, that kind of shelf of quality isekai series. Because after watching the first episode, it's definitely something that is trying to be different. It's definitely something that wants to stand out. It doesn't want to just, cash grab, be the same thing we've seen over and over, with nothing really new to bring to the table. Because let's look at the normal stuff of a isekai series. Normally, when a character is transferred to another world, either A, they fall through a portal or something, like they're summoned or whatever, or they're transferred into a video game, which has become real life, or you have it to where, like, they die, but they're reborn in another world, but they're still human, but they have hero abilities or whatever. This is something you see commonly often. And Overlord is kind of something similar, but it's a little bit different because instead of having the main character that's like, a good guy transferred to another world and all that's being a hero, we have someone like an Overlord, Ainz. He is the main villain, he's the antagonist, he's pretty much the Demon King, the Overlord that is the most heinous individual, and legit, he has like an evil organization underneath his wing. It's a very different series, and it's something that really stood out amongst many. Now, this series, it kind of tries to do something very similar along the lines like Overlord. Like, instead of having a human-type character, we have a main character, as you guessed it by the title. The main character is a slime. Now, when you first think of a slime, slimes don't seem to be that interesting. Let's just be real here. I mean, all of us probably at one point or time in our life, we have played a video game. We have probably somehow sat down and played an RPG game or whatever, and you have probably personally have seen a slime in a game. Or if you haven't played a game with a slime, you know about slimes. If you watch enough anime kind of similar to this, you know that slimes are just this big glob slime ball that really has no arms, no legs, really has no personality. It just rolls everywhere, and it can dissolve and disintegrate certain things that enter into its body. But overall, slimes aren't really anything interesting. It's never really been something that's crazy. But I think that's what really makes this series stand out, is because you have something that seems very dull, very basic, something that you wouldn't think would really make sense for a main character. And that's what makes this series work, because the main character becomes a slime. He is reincarnated into a slime, which does have special abilities, like, resistances and stuff that normal slimes probably wouldn't have. He has his own self-awareness, his intelligence, and he can't actually see, because, as you know, slimes, they don't have eyes. And he does get an ability in the episode where he's able to see, but he's like a typical slime where he has no eyes, he really can't see anything around him, he only knows that something's entered his body, and he can kind of break it down and understand what chemical makes makeup. It really is. And I just really like the vibe of that and how different it is from a normal start of a isekai series. And as he was learning about things of how his body worked, I thought it was really cool. It's kind of like, you know, if I was playing a video game or something, and I was trying to get a feel for how, you know, my character acts in this world, this environment, you know, the different things or tools I give to the character. In this case, the character in this series, with this new body he has, he's just going around exploring. He can't see, but he's just devouring everything that isn't rock-like substance to just be able to analyze it and understand what it is, because he has really nothing better to do. He was just storing up a lot of healing potions because he literally had nothing better to do. And also, his body works in a way very similar to kind of like Kirby. Like, he's able to, like, store things in his body and use them. And, you know, it's really cool. I just like the theme of that. It's very different from what I see normally from this type of genre of anime. And if there's one thing that truly did stand out amongst everything besides just, like, the story or the character, it was just the presentation of the anime. When you compare, you know, this series to some recent series we've gotten, even Overlord itself, that, you know, is from the last anime season, when you compare this episode with those, you can see that there's a lot of love, a lot of dedication and passion put into this first episode of, you know, Reincarnated as a Slime. And the reason why I say those words, I don't say them lightly. I'm not just saying that just to get you to go watch the series and then, you know, watch maybe my next videos I upload for, you know, this series. The reason why I'm saying it's so different and good, and why it got me interested, is because of the sound effects, the direction of the way they present certain themes throughout the episode. Like when the character's thinking to himself. Like at the beginning of the episode, before he dies, you see how the world just pauses around him, and you see how it goes like kind of blackish white, and I just love that. I love that type of effect. And then, you know, when, you know, he was learning about the world, like there was world building, he was getting information about, you know, magic and stuff, and the basic common building blocks in this world of magic in the body, you know, I love the way the music was done, like the 8-bit theme, like, you know, game theme, to, you know, just the way the voices were done, like, you know, the main male character's voice and how it changed through his transition from a human to a slime, or, you know, the sound effect person that's kind of like, you know, an AI telling him how he could play this game. I really like those effects. It's just really showing the passion of the people that were working on this episode, and I don't normally just see that on the first episode. Usually, yes, the first episode is meant to get you to watch a series, like, you know, okay, I want to watch a series, I want to see the next episode, I want to stick with it. That's what first episodes are for. But it's very rare, you know, it's not often where you see a studio go really try hard for a story. Like, they really go in and get nitty gritty and really put these little extra effects and stuff that probably wasn't even in the original series, because this is based off of a light novel. Now, I don't know if this is adapting from the manga or light novel. I have no idea. I know there is a manga, there is a light novel. I'm assuming this is being based off of the light novel, not the manga, but regardless, you know, in light novel, there is no effects like this. So you can see that they really went in with the sound effects and just the direction of the show and really making a unique vibe. It was very warming. Like, you know, the color palettes while I was watching it, like, you know, the colors of the entire episode, it was very inviting. It made me want to continue because it was a very colorful world. You could see, like, the love and care put into each individual scene. So, yes, I think many of you could kind of guess what my opinion is on this series. Will I be watching it? Oh, yes. Hell yes. I'm definitely going to be watching Reincarnated as a Slime. It's a series that is definitely freaking different from what I've seen this year, and I think this might fill that hole in my heart that I'm going to, you know, have once Overlord ends tomorrow. Because remember, FYI, the final episode of Overlord Season 3 is tomorrow. So, when tomorrow hits, if we don't get a Season 4 announcement, or even if we do, it's still over for Overlord for a time being. Kind of similar to My Hero Academia. So, we gotta remember that, you know, it's gonna be kind of sad to see a great series go. So, I think this series, Slime, is gonna kind of somewhat replace Overlord, at the very least for me, in terms of just being able to enjoy a isekai series that actually is freaking quality. So yeah, it has something good going for it. I do know that this series does have a lot of potential. I've heard a lot about it. I've heard many people recommend this series to me in the past, like telling me to read the light novel, read the manga when I was doing live streams and stuff in the past. It's a very popular series recently. It's definitely picked up a lot of steam, and who knows, maybe I might pick up the light novel. Maybe I might do what I did with Overlord. You know, I might enjoy it so much I'll pick up the light novel and just read the light novel ahead of the anime. I know many might not like that. Many might want me to just stay anime only, because I understand many might want me to just have my opinion on how I feel about the series the first time around, instead of just analyzing it from a light novel reader's perspective. But even then, though, if I do love something, I'm going to read ahead. If I truly do love something a lot, and if this really does keep up to being quality like I've seen with this first episode, and it, you know, analyzes and dives into the nitty-gritty details of the world, then I'm definitely going to probably pick up the light novel, because even though this series seems to be very good, I do know when it comes to light novel adaptations, there is still things that get cut. It's not the anime's fault, it's just sometimes you can't really translate a light novel into an anime very well. It just doesn't always work like that, and so there often will be some dialogue and stuff that is cut, inner psyche moments, and I feel like if I was to really enjoy the anime, and I was to read the light novel, I might find a whole new appreciation for this series and truly fall in love. But I want to leave it at that. I'm done. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, how you felt about this series, how you feel about the first episode. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Will you watch this series? Are you going to drop this series? I mean, do you think this is going to replace Overlord that's going to be ending tomorrow? You know, be honest in the comments below. I'm very curious to see how all of you feel about this, and I like it. I like the show. Definitely want to continue it. So with that, I love you guys. Please be safe. If you enjoy my content, you know, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like, and if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below, and with that, Chibi out.